Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at the E100, and like my title says, it's a noobs tank. What I mean by that is most E100 drivers are absolutely useless, and this is the God's honest truth. I'm not going to lie. Most E100 drivers just don't know how to play the tank. It's a very difficult tank to play, and people are quick to grind the E100. They see it as a big, super heavy that should bounce everything, and it has a big gun, and it is that, but it's only that when you play it correctly. I mean, you can't just roll up to the enemy and expect to get some bounces. It requires a lot of skill, not even a lot of skill, it requires some skill. It requires some form of angling, and it's a great tank. It's a fantastic tank to learn these skills, because if you're not going to do it properly, you're going to suffer from it. And because of how flat the tank is, I mean, the bottom plate is very, very weak, and your cheeks are really weak as well. So you have to not just hide your bottom plate, but you also have to hide the turret. It's not the best tanks to go up and face hug someone, because under your gun is just easily pennable, and because you're so high, you're going to struggle to pen tanks like IS4s, IS7s, tanks with very strong turrets, because you are quite high. You haven't got the best of gun depressions, and they would literally, because they're quite low, they will literally just sit in line with your weakest part. So it's not the best tanks it's not the best tank to go up and face hug. You have to try and avoid face hugging tanks. You have to, as I'm saying, we have to angle, and we bounced 1,000 damage this game. You can side scrape, but you've got to do it at an angle where you are at this kind of angle, but you're also angling that turret. And because if you're going to face directly to your enemy, then they're just going to hit your cheeks. And yes, the medium tanks and some heavy tanks, or most tanks, won't be able to pen your cheeks unless they're either running calibrated shells or if they're running Pramo. But as soon as anyone switches to Pramo, your cheeks become just easily pennable. So do keep that in mind. It hasn't got the greatest of pens. I mean, it's not the worst. It's quite slow, but again, it is a super heavy. And so far this game, I mean, we're losing on supremacy points. It's 3 versus 4. I've lost quite a lot of hit points, and it's still going to be an upwards. So it's going to be an upwards task. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to pen that 263. It was going to be a very difficult pen, and I wanted to not waste a shot. And that's the thing, because it's got a big gun. If you can shoot HE in this thing, you're still going to do 300-400 damage. So if you see these tanks that are side scraping, don't be afraid to use that HE, because it does do quite a lot of damage. As I've said, 2 to 400 damage when you're just doing the splash. So now we are just losing on supremacy points, but it's now a 3 versus 2. But 2 of us are a one shot, and the AMX 50B can't actually be seen. So he, at the moment, he should just be running. He should just be going as far away as possible and hiding. Unlike this T57, who does come up, and that was a troll bounce. I should have aimed properly. But our team are going to take out this T57 heavy. So now we are winning on supremacy points, but because the enemy have got 2, they are again going to overtake. And there goes the 50B. I mean, that was actually quite a nice shot. I'm going to admit that was quite a nice shot, and that was a lucky shot, because if I would have missed that shot, then that 50B was moving, and we probably would have lost on supremacy points. So we finished on 4k. I mean, nothing special. We do get the steel wall, so you can bounce shots. I mean, we bounced, what, 2k damage? 4 shots, and they were vital shots. So you can bounce shots, but it's such a noob's tank. I mean, I would reckon every time I see an E100 in battle, 80%, maybe even more, of the time, the player is under 50%, and they just have no clue how to play the tank. And I'm sure a lot of you might agree. Of course, not everyone is a bad player. Not everyone is a bad player. And as soon as I see someone in an E100 that's angled and turned their turret trying to angle their turret, I automatically know, right, okay, you're a good player. Because most players don't do it. Most players don't do it, and I'm gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. It's tough. It's a very difficult tank to play. If you're side scraping in this thing, and there's a tank the other side, and you're going to try and take a shot, as soon as you back up, and yes, you're still going to be side scraping, but as soon as you back up to try and get that shot off, your cheeks become available before you can actually see the tank. So you're going to get shot before you can get that shot off. So you have to, it requires patience. It requires patience, and you want the enemy to shoot you before you can, before you're showing your turret. So you're always going to get bounces in this thing, and some of them are troll if you're angled correctly. But you can't really rely on bounces because you have got so many weak points on this tank, and that's why it's become. I mean, I love the E100. I'm not going to lie, I do love the E100, but it's probably, for me, it is, other than maybe the E4, it is probably the worst tier 10. And that, again, just like I said with the VK72 video, it doesn't mean I don't like the tank and it's a bad tank. It simply means that all the other tier 10s, all the tier 10s are good, except for, I'd say, the E4 is good in its own way. Yes, I think it needs a buff, but this comes, I think, after the E4. And again, it's not saying it's a bad tank. It's not a bad tank. It's actually a really good tank, and I enjoy playing this tank. But you just can't rely on those bounces. I mean, this game, again, we've bounced 1700 damage, which is more than enough. It's more hit points than we've got left. But you can't rely, it's got too many weak points. It has too many weak points that are easily pennable. I mean, you've got the cheeks, you've got the bottom plate, and it's just too much. And if you've got a medium tank or a light tank circling you, then they're not going to get... But you've got more chance bouncing your sides than you have your front. And it's very troll. It's very troll. And if people start shooting heat at your sides, then you are automatically going to bounce. But we're going to watch a game here. I mean, that was a first class. Not bad, 5.1k damage. We're going to watch a game here from Bolt Carrier, and he's going to show just how good this tank is and just how good this tank can be. The HE is fantastic on the tank, again, because it's got that high caliber gun. And especially now, with the hit point buff, it's got 2,750 hit points. Yes, it's not as much as the mouses, but I think it's up there in the top, maybe it's the second best, maybe the top 3, I don't know. But we're going to watch Bolt Carrier. He's going to play this game just brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly. Now, he's decided to go middle. Of course, the E100 is quite slow, so if he was to flank around to the left, it will be, because of the dunes, it will be a difficult position for that E100. You can see now, I mean, that was a nice shot. He had the smallest bit of weak point to aim at, and he still manages to get that shot. And I love the fact that he's always going to try this HE. He's always going to try and get the HE off if he can. You can see he tried it there on the T54. He has switched back to AP, but he's being patient, and he's telling the team, look, attack the T54. So he's just going to wait. He's going to be very patient, and he is going to get that shot off. It's a nice 634 roll. So that's 1,700 damage for him. He's aware. I love his awareness. He's paying attention to the left. He's paying attention to the right. He knows that there is a couple of tanks. And again, them angles does make it troll for that IS-7 to be able to penetrate. So again, he went for the E6. Not a lot of tanks, not a lot of people would go for that HE there. But it paid off, and he does over 1,000 damage. So that pumps his damage now up to 2,900. His team are a tank down, but the enemy does have a couple of low hit points. Now, this E6 here, he is a one-shot, so he is going to poke forward. Now, me personally, I would go for this IS-7 because, of course, the E75 is with the IS-7. 2 tanks on 1 will be a much better than 1 tank on 1. So he is going to help the E75. The E75, of course, is a tier 9. But, of course, the IS-7 is very, very troll, and he does get a bounce. So he now has to put forward, and the team to the left have got it covered. The team to the left have pretty got it covered, and he needs to definitely help this E75 because he is getting wrecked, and that is another troll. I think he missed. I don't know if he hit or if he bounced there. So the E75 is actually doing a very good job. He's not lost any hit points yet to this this IS7, but he is going to help. And again, nice fire there. And he's not quite going to kill, but the E75, I mean, the E75 has done a great job dealing with that IS7. Pretty much a 1 versus 1 him, and he only got shot once, and he should be able to take out this guy. So, bolt carrier, you can see he knows he's relying on that E75 to take the guy out, and he's going to poke forward, take out that T54, and just look at the angle he was from that Jaegeru, I think. I mean, he had his turret turned, so it was very difficult for him to be able to penetrate. And again, he is going for the HE, decides not to go for the Leopard, but now, no, hang on, I am going to go for the Leopard. And again, it pays off with a 953 shot. Now, there's only 3 tanks left alive. He's on 5.5k damage. He's only lost a tiny bit of hit points. He's still got 2,300 hit points left, and now he is going to try and go for the Jagd Tiger, the same as his platoon. So nice focus fire there on the Jagd Tiger. Of course, the Jagd Tiger is one of the best DPM tanks in the game, the second best, other than the SU-122. And now, I mean, it's a 5-on-3. It's a 5-on-3. The Jagd Tiger is a one-shot. There goes his platoon mate. But 2 of these 3 are a one-shot. And just before he can get there, the tank, the Object 704, does take him out. But he can play a lot more aggressive now. He's got plenty of hit points. He can one-shot this Leopard if he average rolls, but he low rolls. Leaves him on a one-shot. And again, he gets another bounce. So 1,200 block damage. 1,200 block damage, and that is because the angles, I mean, he was lucky against the Jaegeru. He was lucky against that Jaegeru because he already angled his turret to face that T54. So, nice win. Nice win. He's not going to get any more damage. I mean, he got the ram damage into the E5, and that literally just pushed his damage above the 7,000 damage. So that is the E100. Very difficult tank to play. Very, very difficult tank to play. And if you don't angle well, you're not going to be able to bounce. And people will get frustrated with it because it's supposed to be a super heavy, really well armored. And when played correctly, it is just that. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I'm meadsy69, and I will catch you all soon. Bye-bye. With